Hello, my astrology friends. Sorry about this is oh my god. Triple makes me laugh. It's his fault. His Jupiter is on my sun, so he always, even though he looks so serious, in real life he's very funny, and he's one of my favorite people to talk to because he makes me laugh so much. So, hello, Triple.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining. Oh my God. I'll mute myself, please start. So this is the April update. We're going to talk about the eclipses from sidereal perspective, and that Jupiter is moving into the constellation or the sidereal Aries, the Ram, and Trifon will lead us through those important influences. And before we start, Trifon is offering 60 minutes. Oh my God, 60 minutes. 60 minutes discounted reading, 30% off on his 60 minutes face-to-face reading with Trifon. I'm putting a link below if anyone wants to have a reading with him. Okay, you go.
Oh, that was really funny. I think this is the funniest beginning of any of your videos or our videos.
I don't know why I'm laughing even.
Because you have Jupiter transit this week.
On my sun?
Yes, on the sun, on Mars, and everything.
The giggles.
It starts today, obviously.
Oh, okay, I'm shutting up.
Hello, people. We were making some astrology jokes before, but like very personal, so that's why it's so funny. So anyway, the funny moment is also in harmony with what we will be talking about today, because you'll see even the title of the video today is related to Jupiter. And so even if the main astrological events of this month are not only Jupiterian, still I think the most important one is exactly related with the transit of Jupiter this month. If you remember, I'm doing Sidereal astrology, which is the ancient tradition. And Jupiter is about to change its sidereal sign this month. So in other words, the 12-year-long journey of Jupiter is finishing this month with the last degrees of the last sign, Pisces. And then he enters in the next sign, the first sign of the zodiac, which is, of course, Aries. So, and because of this, it's a new beginning also. So it's in a way, it finishes many things and begins others. So we can hope for some good endings because of Jupiter. Jupiter will promote in the end of Pisces for those who deserve it, of course, for those who were following the right principles in life. Jupiter will grant some good results of their actions. Right. So, and then he will enter the sign of new energy, of new impulses. So the world will be charged with new energy, a lot of motivation, inspiration for new things, because first of all, Aries is the sign of energy. It signifies the energy and the confidence of a new beginning, because it's coming from the results of everything that has been done before, and some of these successful actions symbolized by the previous cycle will transform into energy freed for a new beginning. So you can notice this in those people who have Jupiter in Aries in their natal charts, for instance. I'm talking about the sidereal, of course, Aries. 88% of the cases in tropical Western astrology charts, it will show us Jupiter in Taurus. But for those who are blessed with this position, you will notice they are people who have really grand, big amounts of energy that is seemingly streaming from nowhere. Like they do so many things. They're constantly busy, constantly able to go into action.
You're talking about yourself because your Jupiter is in there exactly. Are
Vedic
you feeling
astrology.
it or you're hoping it?
Yeah, for me, it's complex. Two systems shows it's exactly on the border. Exactly on the border. According to Vedic astrology, usual calculation is definitely beginning of Aries. But according to the Babylonian way of calculation, there is a small degree less than a difference, but in the Babylonian way, it's in the last degree of Pisces. But an ancient author called Abu Mashar, who writes in Arabic but actually draws from Persian Egyptian texts, he says that any planet that is in the last degree of any sign will have the qualities of the both signs, the one that is previous, the sign in, and the next one, because it's
So what we
transition.
call on the cusp, and some people say, oh, I'm like on the cusp of this and this sign. I feel them both, so that they're not crazy. They actually can feel both.
Yes, yes, yes. This is the ancients are saying it, so we will not go into dispute with them. Definitely not. And so Jupiter is about to unleash a new beginning. New beginning. Also, it is about to change the houses of transit for each one of us. Each one. And I will describe some of these effects of Jupiter. But I will also first begin with what the ancients are saying about Jupiter going into Aries, which is very interesting. So when Jupiter enters Aries, it is on the 25th of April. So exactly after 2 weeks. So Jupiter enters, and the ancients are writing. There are ancient authors writing about this. They have the legacy of those ancient Babylonian and Egyptian texts that they transmitted throughout the centuries, and those ancients, they are saying that Jupiter in Aries will drive away, will remove, they say, all crisis, all annoyance, and produces, they say, deliverance, freedom from the past evils.
It's total renewal.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and this is the only position about Jupiter that, or maybe if I can say even any planet, that they say this. So imagine this must be something big, right? Jupiter in Aries with so good meanings, according to the ancients. So it is coming a great hope of deliverance of the evils of the past, whatever they are, like, you know, COVID, the war in Ukraine, or other things, because it can be also personal for people, right? So, and that's why Jupiter is so important here. And I remember that the first degrees of Aries, they are related also to the people who are the leaders of countries, nations, you can say important business structures, corporations, so on. And so Jupiter goes there, and it will benefit some of the leaders with some good time and successes, definitely. So one of the main rulers of the world will be very satisfied, and I can say that Aries is related, according to an ancient astrologer called Ptolemy. You know, he lived 2nd century in Egypt. So he says that Aries is the sign of the West, mainly of Western Europe. but we can say this is also related to USA, right?
The Aryan, actually, even the word the Aryan cultures. That's the
Oh,
Aryan.
let's say also our country, Bulgaria. There is a part of Bulgaria is called the ancient Thrace, but ancient Thrace was called in ancient times was called area.
Oh,
So the true
it's not just the
Aryans.
white people, but it's those nations that actually more military white, like the Westerners. They're more martial, military like, isn't it?
Well, I think everybody was were like this and still can be, but the reason that Ptolemy says Aries is related to the West is a little different. He uses special astrological techniques to measure which sign where, and Aries hits the length of what is today like France, Germany, and England, and the Scandinavian countries. Some part of Central Europe, I guess.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and
That's
he
where most
gives.
of the people that have populated the states are.
Yes, exactly. And he gives Italy to Leo, Spain to Sagittarius, the other two fiery signs. So they have this portion of the ancient world. But so now when Jupiter enters Aries, and specifically in many authors are mentioning Aries in relation to Germany, by the way. But also for those others, let's just add them. So it will be somehow like better time, I guess, for all those.
But we have an eclipse in Aries as well.
We have, yes. This is another topic also coming to be described. But let's this do not like cloud too much the meaning of Jupiter going also into Aries, right? Because if the eclipse, I will say what it will give. If the eclipse is giving some bad things, Jupiter coming there will also reduce the evil of the eclipse, right? So, and still the positive side of Jupiter will be present in this way.
So people who have their planets close to the eclipse, which is the first degrees of sidereal areas and the last degrees of tropical areas, actually they shouldn't be too worried because Jupiter is gonna pass over those degrees and help them.
Yes, Jupiter will be very closely positioned to the eclipse, so it will give some protection, right? So also when Jupiter enters Aries, there is a lunar mansion called, for instance, in India, Ashwini, which is related to things related to medicine, to healing, to logistic, to transportation. So, you know, the last 2 years, the world suffered a lot because of logistic problems and because of health-related things. Now, Jupiter entering a lunar mansion with those meanings surely indicates that there will be huge improvement about those things, like much more people better in relation to health compared to other years, right? Maybe a lot of people will like have like personal enlightenment what to do with their own health condition, at least. And the good logistic will be helpful for any trade connections. Jupiter will be helping also about business in this way. What to mention also, by the way, another country is associated, another two other countries are associated with Aries by the ancients. Some of them are mentioning that Aries is related to Israel, by the way. And some other authors are mentioning Bactria, which is actually positioned in the lands of modern Afghanistan. So those two countries also will have some improvement.
Aren't Israel now in a war? They just started shooting it with Syria or something. Or Lebanon, I'm not sure.
Well, Jupiter is in Aries. Jupiter can make them to be very confident, I guess, right? and to support their actions potentially. So it is a good sign for them, however, not only about military actions. If there are military actions, they will be successful in them, probably, but also Jupiter in general is a good sign for things like, for any country, like, for instance, fertility, because Jupiter is related to anything related to fertility, like more people being born, for instance, compared to other times. Or maybe resolving the fertility issues and problems, demographic problems, which are like very strong now in the West. Jupiter here potentially will help. And so this is about Jupiter. Now on a personal level, Jupiter will help each of the signs in different way. For instance, the sidereal sign of Aries, which is, you know, in Western astrology is Taurus. This sign will be able to travel much more around the world to have foreign connection, higher education, and spiritual growth, and even healing. This is about the Aries sidereal sign. Taurus sidereal rising sign, which is considered in Western astrology mostly Gemini. Taurus will, as a sign much related to finances and material world, this will be the time for Taurus to enjoy some more spiritual enlightenment and development. Definitely. Some of those people who want to immigrate, this will be probably the good time for them.
Can you also say the tropical version, the Western version, so people don't get confused? Because a lot of people.
Yes, I'm saying it. Now
Okay.
I'm talking about Taurus rising in Sidereal, but Gemini in Western astrology. Perfect. Saying about the spiritual moment and immigration. And also Jupiter is in...
It's incredible, but I also feel it from the sun sign, like so powerfully transits. So maybe people can, it's, for me, they are just as equally important. I don't know why.
Yes, for instance, for people who are born in daytime or have in their charts a very strong connection to the sun, this will be potentially valid also from the point of view of the sun sign. So, or if you have the moon in those signs and you are born at night, those meanings also will be at least partly true for you too. Right. So have this is the ancients. They considered 3 possible ascendants points, like depending on which one is stronger, the sun, the moon, or the ascendant, or even if you have a mighty group of planets, which can be something else. Some people have, for instance, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and Venus together.
A stellium, yeah. That's why I probably feel it as well from my sign so much, because I have 4 planets together in one place.
You have a stellium, yes, where the sun is, and this is the explanation. I have noticed that the stellium is usually the more important turning and pivotal point.
Oh, wow.
Compared to the ascendant or other positions.
Wow. Okay, that makes
transits.
Makes so much sense.
Of course. And it is, even for me, it's like this. I have also a stellium in my chart. So, yeah, in the 8th house.
Yes.
So, this is where the occult things are coming with me, people. Anyway, so we are now on the sign, sidereal sign Gemini, rising, or as you can see, stellium, moon at night or sun at daytime. So the sidereal sign Gemini, which in Western astrology, at least 88% of the cases is considered to be Cancer, the sign Cancer. So for those people, Jupiter will promote fortunate events related to their brothers and sisters, to their siblings. It will promote much education and traveling, short and long distance. It will improve their nervous system. It will give them great social life, intellectual activity. So this is really good, actually. When I had this, I remember when I had this transit, I had all those things. So, and also true for others, of course. And next sign, Sidereal Cancer rising, which mostly in Western astrology is considered to be Leo. So for them, Jupiter enters the so-called house of happiness, the fourth house. The ancients considered this house to be the residence of one's happiness. If anybody of you wishes to see if he will be happy in life or not, he has to look at the fourth house.
Wait,
Well,
you're confusing me.
It's a very
No,
key moment, right?
Trifon, from Cancer, Jupiter will be in the 10th house.
It's a 10th house. Yes, yes, yes,
Even
you're
for the previous one, for Gemini, was the 11th. Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. I somehow twisted
I never seen you
everything.
make a mistake before. That's so strange.
Okay, okay, people. I'm sorry for this.
Go back,
We'll do
rewind.
it again. We'll do it again. Okay, for Aries and Taurus is correct. For Gemini, however, rising, we begin again. So Gemini rising, which is Cancer in Sidereal, will have Jupiter in their 11th house. Okay, Jupiter in their 11th will promote achievements of their goals and dreams. It will raise their income, and it will give them some of the best friends. Okay, so this was Sidereal Gemini and Tropical Cancer. Now, and the ancients are saying the 11th house is also related to love life, so it will give them potentially better love life. You know, Gemini, there are people who are related to this topic. Even the constellation was depicted in the sky as so let's give them something because of the mistake. So in the ancient times, the constellation was depicted as a woman and a man holding hands.
Holding hands. So it's
Love.
still a very sexual sign, actually, Gemini.
Sexual, but also human, very delicate.
Human relationships, yeah.
Yes, so the sign of intelligence. So it's a great sign, and not only because it's my rising sign, of course. So anyway, so then we go to the sidereal sign of Cancer again. And which is in tropical astrology Leo. Jupiter will be in their 10th house. There, Jupiter will improve their reputation. It will give them success in their actions. It will, to many of them, it will give them more fertility somehow in their homes and families. In general, they will be more happy. I think for them it will give also a lot of work and a lot of improvement of health because Jupiter is ruling their 6th house. Right. Also, it will mean a lot of higher type of education, a lot of foreign travel, actually. Much positivity from Jupiter. And so, this is about the sign. The next sign, Sidereal Leo, which is in tropical Western astrology is considered mostly to be Virgo. Jupiter will make a trine to their ascendant from the 9th house. So Jupiter in the 9th house is promoting broadening of their horizons on every level, like spirituality, religion, philosophy, and traveling around the world. It will reduce the difficulties in their lives in general. It will calm and balance their spirits. maybe it will be not good for their fathers and grandfathers. The logic is to reveal a little of the secrets. Ninth house is ancestors, but for Leo rising, Jupiter rules the 8th house. And so whoever knows what I talk about will make his conclusion. And
What?
okay, come again. The 9th house, where Jupiter is transiting for them, for Leo rising, Sidereal and Virgo in tropical Western astrology. So one of the principal meanings of the 9th house is ancestors and father.
So the death of the father?
So it can give potentially some dangers for the father and ancestors. Of course, also some good things for many of them, because it's Jupiter. Because it's the ruler of the 8th house, which is house of crisis and deep change, right? Also has this connotation. Based on the 8th house rulership, I can say they can receive more of the help that they need from other people, or other people's money, material help, right? Sharing of resources on every level, personal, intimate, financial, coming to them because of the 8th house. However, Jupiter is also the 5th house lord, and for them, it will mean much more fertility, potentially having children, also much more fun, romantic time, enjoying life also very much. So all this is for them. Oh, they're blessed. I can say even it will give them some more protection against health issues, which they specifically need in this time because in those years, this one next year, Saturn is opposing them. Saturn is opposing them, and he rules health-related things for them. But Jupiter will help now. So they need his protection. The next sign, Virgo. Virgo Sidereal. Virgo Sidereal sign, which is in Western tropical astrology, is considered to be Libra. For them, Jupiter will be in the 8th house. The 8th house transit is about positive transformation, regeneration. It will give them help from others on every level. It will definitely show big changes related to partnership, big changes related to family. And some of them can receive money from others. It's good for love life. You know, the 8th house is the house of merging with the other person. And we talk here about deep level, of course. So this is about them. Then the next sign, Libra, Sidereal. Libra Sidereal, which is Scorpio in Western astrology. For them, Jupiter will be in the 7th house. The 7th house of Jupiter here will promote success in relationships, but also can indicate some health issues for existing partner, and that they have to take care a little bit more about health and work. Much more learning and traveling. For them is a little mixed, the meaning, but as Jupiter becomes very like in angular position, it will give them positive life experience compared to other times. So it's mostly good. Then we go to Scorpio Sidereal. Sidereal Scorpio, which is considered to be Sagittarius mostly in Western astrology. Well, it will enjoy Jupiter transit in the 6th house. This is an interesting moment. Their enemies can become stronger. 6th house is one's enemies. However, if they need employment, if they need work, if they need improvement of health, Jupiter will give all those things like almost in no other time. So Good times about work, good times about health for them. And because it's very important for Scorpio, also dealing with debt, they will be able to do it. Other things, Sagittarius rising, which in Sidereal, which in Western astrology is considered mostly to be Capricorn. So for them, Jupiter enters their 5th house. Well, for them, for many of them, this will be the most romantic time because it's and maybe even the best time, because it is the house of good destiny, transited by the planet of good karma, Jupiter. So they will enjoy creativity, fertility, potentially children. They will have romantic time. They will enjoy their life much more fully than in other times. And you know, this is 12 months starting 25th of April. So it's really good for them. Also, I can say professionally, for them it's also a good time. It gives them also some more protection against health issues. Then the next sign, Sidereal Capricorn rising, which is considered mostly to be Aquarius in Western astrology. Here we go for this reversed interpretation that I gave before for Cancer. So they will have transit of Jupiter in their 4th house, the house of happiness. This is also the house of family and property, but also the house of the soul, the house of emotional essence. Jupiter there has really good meanings usually. So they will, especially this is like, you know, Capricorn who have many fears, many complexes, who is difficult for him to release the pressure. So Jupiter here will give them much more emotional harmony. It will give them to live much more comfortably. And they will enjoy things related to property in general, and also to vehicles. So as you can see, good things. So, and this is for them. The next sign is Sidereal Aquarius, which is considered in Western astrology to be rising sign Pisces. For them, Jupiter is in the 3rd house. 3rd house, it will give them all those meanings that I mentioned earlier for something else. So what I mean, good times for their siblings, much travel, much education, much better social life, and it will relax their nervous system a lot. So it's one really good position actually for how they feel in life. And the final sign, the Sidereal Pisces, which is considered mostly in Western astrology to be Aries. Well, they have some good times coming. First, Jupiter is their ruler, and Jupiter enters their 2nd house, which you know is basically the house of enjoying the material benefits of life. This includes also the enjoyment of the body, not only the finances. So they will have better times in every respect, financially and otherwise. And they will be able to develop their talents also, another meaning of on 2nd house, and even potentially it's good time for their families in general. So this was about the transits and other things related to Jupiter. Now, rather we can move to the solar eclipse.
Yes.
So
Let's go there.
Let's go there. So you saw people, Jupiter will give now big changes, a lot of good things. But this month also holds some things that are in traditional astrology not considered to be so positive. And we are talking about the solar eclipse. It's not a total eclipse, but still it's an eclipse, and it is coming. It will happen in the beginning of Aries. Well, you'll see what the ancients are saying about it. They say the following. I think I mentioned those things partly for when I was talking about the year in general earlier, the beginning of this year. However, this eclipse being in the beginning of Aries, the ancients are saying that shows movement of the army. Well, this is anticipated by everybody to happen in Russia-Ukraine war. And the eclipse indicates that it will happen soon, around and after 20th of April. They say also it indicates the continuation or development of military expedition. This is again the same things. And this is already known in general that it will happen, but the difference is that astrology can say this like years before. So what else the ancients are saying? That they say that the mob will rule. Mob will rule. So then there can be obviously big civil unrest. Because it's Aries, this can happen in all those Aries-related countries that I listed earlier. Western Europe, Israel, Afghanistan. So then there is danger of big civil unrest and some destruction because of this. And a lot of noise, they say, a lot of controversy. These are things related to Aries. Conflicts. Okay. Jupiter will be there to help. So this is in general the meaning of the eclipse. Of course, if the eclipse hits someone very closely, so the eclipse is 4 degrees Aries in Sidereal, but it's around the 28 degree in tropical astrology. So in both cases it's Aries. So if it is closer than 3 degrees, this is the astrology rule, another hint for everybody, be effective really to threaten anyone, it has to be less than 3 degrees closer to any important point. I mean, like ascendant, the sun, the moon, and with the respective meanings. It will threaten the health of the people associated with these positions. So whoever has positions there, be careful. If you don't know what people signifies, then you maybe need an astrological reading. Just maybe. So, and this is far from the end of the list of important events. This month, we have also other things. We have Mercury changing his condition. Mercury now is in Aries in Sidereal, considered to be Taurus in Western astrology. Anyway, Mercury is about to become retrograde, is about to become invisible, and these are all important things. And this happens on the 21st of April, and he will be retrograde until the 15th of May. And around that time, he also becomes invisible, because he stops and the sun goes closer to Mercury, and Mercury goes into the light of the sun after sunset, becoming invisible. And this condition of Mercury indicates that people who have Gemini, like me, and every 12th person on this planet, will experience potentially some setbacks, some changes of plans. They will have to do some things that they were not able to do before. And later, this will be positive for them, but later, in the middle of May, when Mercury goes direct. In the meantime, people who are related to intellectual work and trade may experience some problems. And because it's Mercury, who is in the sign Aries, which is said to be a violent sign, and because Mercury is aspected by Mars also this month, this station of Mercury shows that it's not good time for traveling, it's not good time for negotiations, and that there can be like much disputes and controversy that time. Apart from this, the ancients are saying that it is harmful, that it brings disease, they say. Jupiter is contradicting that, so it will be not so strong, I think. And it is interesting that they say also it will bring grief to the army. You know, this corresponds to the solar eclipse that happens the previous day, which is related to military movement, actions, and so on. And the grief to the army will be actually something natural happen if there are intense military actions for any of the armies involved, of course. So one of the armies, of course, will have much more of this. I will not specify, but I think you can be making your own conclusions about that. I'm saying enough things about this. So this is about Mercury. So as you can see, people, a lot of things are happening in Aries this month. Solar eclipse, station of Mercury, Jupiter ingress. So whoever has strong Aries will have the so-called interesting times. As they say in the ancient Chinese curse, you know, if you remember, what is the story? A Buddhist monk observing the Mongol invaders destroying his monastery because he is very spiritual, very kind. He's not able to say anything bad. So one of the invaders was near and he said only, let you live in interesting times. Because
May you live in
times it can be too interesting. So, so it sounds a little bit like this for Aries this month. Has some good sides, definitely, some excellent things, and some of the others. So the most eventful things. So the most eventful things are for them.
Thank you so much again for your time and for taking special attention to each of the 12 signs. And if anyone would like a personal reading with Trifun, he's making a big discount, 30% off for 1 hour reading with him. I'm going to put a link in the description below. You can contact him using ancient astrology methods, not traditional Western astrology, psychological. It's a bit more old school, but how astrology was before, but more correct predictive wise.
Old school has a lot of connection to spiritual essence of the chart, so it's no less psychological, you can say.
You're right.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. May you live in interesting times. No.
And interesting in a good way. That's it.
Interesting in a good way. Have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.